That was recording.
Yeah, I've been on my own since May of 2025, so fairly new, but
Okay, all
yeah,
right. Well, congratulations
thank you so
into
much.
this entrepreneurship journey.
Appreciate
Uh,
it.
it is a walk of faith for sure. But for me personally, I wouldn't have it any other way
Exactly.
because nothing's guaranteed anymore. You know what I mean? So
Right.
at least if they're gonna let me go,
Yep,
I can I know it for myself before. You know what I mean? I think we got too comfortable in these places.
definitely.
All right, Mr. Riley. No, that's Miss Davita. Good morning. Can I see your face this morning?
Good morning. So I'm having issues logging in. So I won't be able to get on camera this morning.
Okay. Give me a little background. How'd you hear about
From
it?
what manifesting
Huh?
from Kelly. I heard it from Kelly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your background?
So I'm currently in tech. I work for a cybersecurity company in sales. I just made my 1 year mark on that. Prior to that, I worked in different industries and I did venture into entrepreneurship as a photographer through the pandemic. Right now, I am not an entrepreneur. I only have one source of income, and we all know that is not guaranteed. And so I have been doing research into other things. And I figured this would be the best place to obtain information from someone who's has the experience of bidding and winning contracts, government contracts.
Okay. All right. And Dr. Loretta, welcome back. How are you?
Doing wonderful.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us this morning. You completed the course. Have you been submitting bids? What have you been doing?
I've been submitting bids, looking at everything,
Okay.
looking to believing God to get one of those contractors. It's harvest time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, it is 9:31. We did have about 7 or 8 people that signed up, and for me, it's all about who's supposed to be here to hear what it is. So we're going to go through this information session and give you a little background on what this is about, what this game is about. So thank you again for joining me. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into this presentation. As I say, I love creating millionaires and building generational wealth. And even though it's chaos across the board, and nothing is really stable. But what I do know as a federal contract, it's almost like certain industries, hospitals, funeral homes. You're always going to have people going to the hospital and having people transition, and it's the same thing with government contracts. There's always going to be government contracts, and they're the biggest. They have the most money. So for me, that's why I say right now is really the time, because the way this current administration is going, everything really is becoming privatized. And again, I can't be mad at them. To a certain degree, we just want to understand the rules of engagement so we can be like the billionaires, get the tax credit. But we're so far behind in understanding just how to manage and run a business. And so for me, it's about being mobilized, everyone coming together. That was one of the reasons I created the communityownedschool.com, because I realized after people were leaving the program, and most of the individuals that was coming through the program were solopreneurs. And in this space, is all about partnering. It's all about collaborating. And in order for you to succeed, you have to have capacity. And so through my program, that's part of it. We teach you how to team and teach you how to build capacity. And if you're going to take this entrepreneurship journey, you have to first think of your why. And what is your why? Why are you getting and stepping out and going this pathway? And my why has always been my father, who was one of the first African American police officers in the hometown that I grew up in. And he ended up suing the town based on discrimination. He won, got his back pay back, and then he retired and ran for city councilman. And as a city councilman, he saw that there was land by a project, and he was able to find funding to get a park. So we now have park in his name. So for me, I think everyone that's taking this journey have to have some sense of why you want to do it in order to keep it going. And it's always about legacy for me. What are you leaving behind? Even with GPI. Everybody that comes through the program and those that I know have won the million dollar multi-million dollar contracts. I got one billionaire. I know that their future is changed. And that's what I want my legacy to be, is just like the parks, things that live long after you're gone. My legacy is all of those that really commit to this process and understand the game and change their grandchildren's future. So I'm going to preach a little this morning so y'all can say amen when you need to say amen. I got
Amen already.
this is all about spirit for me. I'll be 65 next month. So I'm in the fourth quarter. And it's all about sharing the wisdom and the knowledge that I've learned along the way to the next generation. So who am I? Um, I'm Paula Watts, originally from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, my first job was with a contractor in DC doing event planning. And that company was a part of the 8A program. By show of hands, you heard of the 8A program? Anybody?
Yep.
Okay. Um, and so for me at 25, I knew I wasn't meant to work for people, but I knew I was seeing specifically Black-owned business owners in DC that were winning all these contracts. And I remember telling my father then, I'm going to own my own business. I didn't know how, but I knew I wanted to own my business at 20, my first business at 25. So my contract was doing event planning. I was not only doing event planning, I was sitting inside of those meetings and beginning to understand how the money flowed. Most of the events that I was responsible for coordinating was with the White House, with HHS, a lot of senior level agencies that I interacted with. So I ended up attaching myself to one contract that was a part of the 8A program. And every 3 years, I went with that contract to a new firm where I ended up going through 6 firms before I started my first business at 35. The first year in business, I won my first $1 million contract. Second year in business, I applied into the 8A program and received another $3 million contract and grew it really quickly to almost $15 million in contracts. And I had 2 business partners and almost 40 employees. And that's where my challenge began because I really had no clue what I was doing. The government was awarding me all of these contracts, and I didn't have the infrastructure in place to support it. I had one of the business partners, I just call him crazy, who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the business. The last straw for me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit with his initials down, going down the pinstripe. It's like, you have lost your mind. I had my assistant to do an audit on his credit card. He takes her in the elevator and threatens her. And I ended up terminating him. After terminating him, he then conspired with two employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. He was their alibi. After 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I had no more operating cash, so I ended up transferring $7 million of my contracts to another 8A firm and closing the business in 2005. And what that did, it pushed me to my new passion because I did not want any other small business to go through what I went through without knowing. So I volunteered for 2 years as a SCORE counselor, which is a resource partner of SBA, for 2 years in the Washington, D.C. office. Um, I'm very strategic. After running out of money, a position opened up in SBA, and I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. I was hired as a business opportunity specialist, and in that role, my job was to service the businesses that are in the 8A program. But that office was also the office that processed all those who were trying to apply into that program. So I was able to get a wonderful um, experience of understanding what and why they were denying or allowing people to come into that program. In 2012, I relocated here to Atlanta. While I was in this district office, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. And for me, that was the missing piece because I was an employee of a federal contractor. I owned my first business for 10 years as a federal contractor. Um, I worked in the government at SBA for 7 years, but I wasn't quite sure how those agencies actually put those solicitations together out for you to compete on. So for me, that was the missing piece. That was full circle. I've trained more than 10,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government, assisted small businesses to win over 1.5 billion in contracts across various industries. I've self-published a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. It, names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it pretty much documents what I went through in that first business. Because that's all it takes is one crazy person to take you out. So, what are the small businesses challenges entering into this space? While working at SBA, I realized I would host workshops and tell everyone, go get registered in SAM, go get these certifications. Everyone's excited and they go through that process, but they're not quite sure what to do with the information. And it's the same thing as it is with their resource partners. Their resource partners is just information based. No one is really connecting the dots. And it's the same thing with these government agencies. No one understands the rules and regulations of SBA. And SBA is a major factor in this equation. So, what happens when small businesses are trying to enter into this space? Is understanding the government language, is understanding the processes, is understanding what certifications do I really qualify for, and what type of supporting documentation is SBA looking for as I begin to apply into their program. Also understanding each of these agencies are silos. No one talks to each other in the government, meaning GSA manages one database, that's a major factor, and SBA manages their databases. Used to be they communicated with each other, but now those are two separate databases and no one understand what each other is really looking for from a small business perspective. So based on all of that, I've created this program proudly, I could say 10 years in the mix this next month, based on many lessons learned. And what I realized is this system is designed for everyone to be laborers. Your degrees, your job titles, no one truly teaches you how to become a CEO. I have PhDs, I've had MDs come through the program. And if you think of those degrees, MBAs, they're teaching you how to work for someone else. So in that first business, I realized the first thing that you have to do is not limit your business. After that first year and winning that first contract for $1 million doing event planning, and I was marketing the business as an event planning company, my mentor pulled me aside and said, "Why are you pigeonholing yourself?" And when he said that, it made perfect sense based on those 5 or 6 companies I'd gone through and looking at those that were successful. So I changed my business model to a management consultant and created divisions. I had an admin division, IT, communication, database. I started winning contracts in all of those areas because in this space, the government is not expecting you to have all the expertise in your space, whereas everyone else is telling you, stay in your skill set. You're not ready to compete on federal contracts. You're not, you have to have all of this. And I will consistently say that's not the case. And I have a case proven just recently. The young lady, they started that cohort in March. I challenged them in June because I know right now it's Christmas season with the government. I also know that they have reduced the workforce. The work still has to get done. And what I'm seeing on these bids is half the people that they have on the inside don't have a clue what they're doing, which gives you more room for winning. So the first thing is not limit your business. So in our first module, we help you to create a business model that's going to be sustainable and help you to build capacity by building a team that you're now marketing to the government. The government buys everything, but you're going to have some core service areas based on what the government is selling, not necessarily based on what you do. Are y'all hearing me? Can I get an amen from the church? That
Amen.
makes sense, huh?
I said amen.
Has anybody ever said that to you? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're in sales. Sales, that's half the battle. In my first business, I wouldn't say that I was a salesperson. So I built my infrastructure based on my weakness. So the other partner that I really should have had, he was a salesperson. He came from the hotel industry. I knew if I trained him on how to sell to the government, it's still the same process. And I knew that the Hyatts and the Marriotts train their salespeople. You have to eat to be a salesperson. So that's how we were able to grow so quickly. As I said, in this space, collaboration is key. All of SBA's programs and all of these contracts require for you to collaborate, but no one is teaching people how to collaborate. So in the second module of the program, we teach you how to team. We build up teams. And at that stage, I'm the government. You can't talk to me. You've got to deliver the end product. Because you can't call the government if somebody or your subcontractor dropped out. You have to make CEO executive decisions. Third, you must have the infrastructure. What do I mean by infrastructure, anybody? Anybody? Come on, class, talk to
Your
me.
team, the way you handle your taxes or your paperwork, the administration part, all of it.
Accountant,
Mm-hmm.
attorney. I got sued. Before you get your first employee, you need to make sure that you have employment, practice, liability insurance. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered my lawsuit. That would have covered the partner's buyout. That would have covered my attorney fees. These are things that aren't written anywhere. So that's why I created this program based on what I wish someone would have told me. So when you look at the federal government, when does the federal government starts its fiscal year and ends its fiscal year? Someone? Anybody?
October 1st.
October.
October 1st through September 30th. So for you, there's a peak time that you're going to directly market to the agency, meaning you're going to be reaching out and building those relationships. And before the peak bidding time, because what happens from October to February or March, these agencies are generally operating on what they call a continuing resolution, meaning they have limited funding. So they're really twirling their hands. Come December, everybody's trying to do use or lose leave. Uh, so you have to be strategic in this place. Once they get their money, let's say February, March, it takes time for it to dribble down to all the departments and offices within that agency. Right now, from July to September 30th is peak bidding time. It's peak bidding time because they have to spend all of their money by September 30th. In DC, we used to call this Christmas time because we knew that it's just, I call it stupid money out there. The young lady, she won her first contract. She submitted in June. Her background was IT network engineer. Her first contract was for rock salt, delivering rock salt in North Carolina. She put a 50% markup on that buy, and the government accepted it. So this is the name of the game. Why? Because every year I need to update the scorecard. The agencies are scored on how they award contracts based on SBA's programs and set aside. 23% are set aside for small businesses, 5% for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged 8A participants, 5% for service disabled, and 3% for hub zones. So what that means for you, the more certifications you have, the better you're helping that agency meet their goals. As an example, if you're a small business and the agency awarded you a contract for $100,000, that agency now gets credit of $100,000 towards their goal. And let's say you're a small business and woman-owned. Now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goals. So the more certifications you have, you're helping the agency achieve their goals. And every year, SBA tracks what dollars are going to small businesses and to each of its set aside programs. And as you can see, it's a lot of dollars. But right now, the 8A and the Small Disadvantage Program, they're now reducing those goals for next year to 5% based on this current administration. They're trying to really streamline, they're saying, and eliminate a lot of things, as you can say, as they are calling this so-called DEI. But anyway, that's another story, another day. As I look at the 8A program, and I specifically focus on that program because it's a program to my heart, and I know that's the way to create generational wealth. So when you look at the 8A program in Maryland, the number of participants, and this was as of last week, and you look at what's up in Virginia, and when I went to Pennsylvania and when I came here to Georgia, I started seeing and realizing that no one out of that DMV area really had a clue about federal contracts. And that's based on the number of businesses that were in the portfolio here in Georgia. Now, there's definitely a lot more women-owned businesses in these other categories. That means most of these businesses have these additional certifications. But still, I refuse to believe that there's no more than 197 businesses in the state of Georgia that can qualify into this program. Something is wrong. And when I looked at New York, these numbers just they're not add up. 80 in the entire state of New York. So I knew then and there there's a problem with people understanding these programs and how it really do create generational wealth. So what you'll see here is the database where you actually register to do business with the government, but also where opportunities are posted. And as I said earlier, what I found with many of SBA's resource partners, they'll tell you to start locally because you're not ready to compete on the federal side. And that is not true because the government have contracts that are 250,000 and below that are specifically designated for small businesses. Whereas if you're competing on local and state contracts, you're competing with a whole lot more people. And that doesn't make sense. Meaning, I can win a contract here in California, even though I'm here in Georgia. Your role in this space as a small business owner and as the CEO is to find the subject matter experts that have the skill sets that can fulfill the contract. You are project management. Are you hearing me? Is the church hearing me? I need
Hear
Amen.
you.
Amen.
Taking
I need
note
to
and
make
hearing you.
huh?
Yes,
Taking
ma'am.
note and hearing you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So how do we get into this game? So you get in this game, you can self-certify, as I say, through sam.gov. When we, it was launched when I was still in Pennsylvania, and we still call it such a mess, but it's sam.gov. You can self-certify as a small business and as a small disadvantaged business. However, a lot of agencies do not use this as part of their goals because once you get into this program, you're automatically classified as a SDB. There are only 4 programs that require um, a formal certification, meaning you're submitting an application to SBA and being approved. The 8A program is a business development program. The Hub Zone program is designed to build communities. Women owned is just what it is, and then service disabled, veteran owned. So to to apply for these programs, they've just recently merged all of these applications into one database, and that's in my SBA certification. And if you go to each one of them, it's going to, again, give you the checklist and the qualifications required for applying into these programs. And so as you can see, as a whole, all of the programs allow you these types of opportunities. The 8A program is the only ones that you have the opportunity to build your business for 9 years by obtaining contracts that are non-competitive up to $4.5 million in contracts. That's called sole source. Do I need to repeat that from the church? I don't think the church heard me.
Yes, please.
Love it.
Meaning, that's how I grew my business so quickly the first time. I would go into that agency, um, and I would tell them I had this team of experts based on this contracts that was in that program, and they just do an award. It's now these contracts are never posted on SAMS.gov because the whole purpose of the programs is to leverage these contracts. So by the time you graduate from the program, that you are effectively able to compete as a small business without these contracts. That makes sense? Any questions?
I do have a question. So, do you have to ensure that your S Corp LLC is in place and valid in order to qualify for approval from this program?
We're gonna go through what the qualification looks like.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. The hub zone is based on where your business is located. As long as your business is in an area that's been designated as a hub zone, which is not necessarily I call a hood zone, it's just where that business is located, and 35% of your employees reside in a hub zone. So for the 8A program, previously, before SBA was sued last year, as long as you were a member of any one of these ethnic groups, you automatically met the social component of the program. Now, the requirement is you have to write evidence and provide examples of how you've been discriminated against as it relates to your small business. I can get over that, but it's still subjective. So you have to provide examples and a narrative demonstrating. As an example, let's say you went to apply for a loan. And again, based on the color of your skin or your last name, they decline you. You go to another bank and they approved you with the same information. So those are some of the examples that they may be looking for. The economic component consists of your net worth. It cannot exceed $850,000 minus any equity in your home and any equity in your business. Now, if you have rental properties, that equity will be counted against you. And what I've found over the last 10 years in this space is, especially those who dibble and dabble in the real estate industry, is good for having 3 or 4 entities. You cannot have um, you cannot have multiple entities in this program because part of the requirements is that you're full-time under that entity. And you do have to be able to demonstrate revenue coming in. So if you have multiple entities and you have revenue coming in multiple entities, SBA is looking at, I'm not quite sure, which business that you're going to really be servicing. So we want to make sure that whatever business that we're approving into the program, you are full-time. And do I have any real estate agents? Someone just joined us late at the 678 number. Any real estate agents?
I'm a licensed real estate broker.
You what?
A licensed real estate broker.
Okay. So it's shifting that entity and making it under another industry code because they do not allow brokers into the program. But my most successful ones who've leveraged this program come from the real estate industry. So I tell the real estate industry to use the code on their tax returns going forward, the 541611. That's management consulting. 541611. And and I've been working with a lot of federal employees who've been riffed. And what I realized through this process in the last month is that we are so tied, or the system makes you tied to your system. And when I started asking people, well, what was your job? And I'm looking at health scientists, I'm looking at public health analysts, senior public health analysts, and I'm looking up what the salary range for those positions. And then I went back to my position at SBA and realized that once you deal with your experience, it's different than your job title. One who was a public health analyst, oh no, she was a health scientist. I said, but what did you do? She said, well, I managed a project and we did implementation and we had a lot of data collection. So that's what you're selling, is program management, not the health scientist title. Almost like my title as the business opportunity specialist. What does that really mean? Nothing. But inside, I was the police, I was the accountant, I was the attorney, I was the outreach marketing person. So you have to look at everything that you've done in your life, and that's what's going to really create your business partner. So that's how we begin to understand the game. Who's on the phone from 678? I'd like to know who's in the house.
Hi, it's Rachel. I emailed you yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yes. And Rachel, what was your background?
I've done 15 to 20 years in HR, but I'm currently in project management
Okay. So
in construction.
in this space, think of government contracts as staffing. That's all it is. I don't have to know anything about this contract to win. That's not my job. And those of you that aren't in the real estate, in HR, it takes a whole lot of money, a whole lot of time to win that house. You're more than a real estate once you remove that title and segment it into specific industries and you sell it. So instead of construction is project driven. You're always looking for the project, and to me, that's still the good old boy network. I would change it to facilities management and use the same skill sets that you use in the construction industry to go after service-based contracts. You deal with landscapers, you deal with janitors, you deal with roofing, you deal with HVAC. Those are more service contracts that are long term. You're no longer consistently chasing the next project. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Amen.
Okay. Hub Zone program. There's no term limits associated with this program. This program again is like Magic Johnson's, what he did. What did Magic Johnson do, someone? Anybody? He went
Neighborhood started helping out, giving back to the neighborhood.
he went and created business movie theaters, Starbucks in the hood and hired from within. And that's the same analogy of this program. In this program, as you see, you get the same benefits. The difference in this program and the 8A, in order for the agencies to award a sole source contract under this program, they have to make sure that there are at least two companies that are qualified. That's called the rule of two. But they also allow what they call a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning anybody outside of the program, the government's going to add 10% onto their costs. Principal office, again, must be in the hub zone, and 35% of your employees must live in the hub zone. This is the map. This is the map. If you look at the map and put your address in, it's going to let you know whether or not you're located in a hub zone. So you can be a home-based business and still apply in the program if it's just you. You're meeting the 35% employee number. And when I'm looking here in Atlanta, and this is where SBA's office used to be, it's downtown, right near the Hyatts, the Marriott's, Deloitte's down there, Ritz-Carlton, but it is a hub zone. And what makes it a hub zone is all of these shelters that were there at one point, because again, the program is designed to build communities, and it makes sense. The women's program is broken into two components. If you Once you apply as an economically disadvantaged, you're automatically a WOSB. The ED is mirroring the 8A program. So in this side of the WSB program, you're going to have to provide tax returns and profit and loss because again, it's based on that 850,000 net worth. You can certify, I need to update this now. You can certify through SBA yourself, or you can go through a third party. I always recommend you do it yourself because If you're going through a third party, you're still going to just provide them the same information, and there's a fee associated with it. And I'm a control person. I don't want to have to keep coming back to you for things. I want to know and understand the process myself. Eligibility requirements, minimum. Most of these, the women's and the veterans and the 8A requires that whoever's applying into these programs own at least 51%. And for the 8A program, I tell businesses, no, going through partnerships or any business, that's a marriage and a divorce, which can get ugly. You can still team and get the same benefit, but not in a legal marriage. And then with the 8A program, because again, I know that's the generational wealth for our community up in DC, and that's the game I'm teaching you in the program, is you're going to tag on to somebody that's graduating from the program. You're going to get grandfathered in because once they graduate from the program, they can't keep those contracts. So you're always going to have somebody in the back that's coming along. I had one young lady, again, she did about 75 million in the program. She leveraged that. Her background was real estate. She leveraged that to get a contract in Amazon doing the deliveries. And now she's using that money to do development in Guyana. But 4 years ago, her son was leaving the military, 26 years old. He was service disabled vet. I said, get him certified as a service disabled, start subcontracting to him. She's graduated last year. She's subcontracting work for him. So now he's in the position to get another 9 years of 8A sole source contracts. Are y'all hearing me?
Work that program.
Amen. Amen.
But we're not even in the game. We're not even competing. And my concern is they're going to dilute the program so much where we're not going to get the same benefit that I know the previous generations and I received. So I'm kicking and screaming at this stage is to get anybody that's eligible and have the basic minimum requirements to get into this game now before they dilute this program. But the women's program, again, minimum qualifications. You got to hold the highest office. And so whatever certifications I don't have, that's how you're going to team up and make sure you certify with others. So this is the veterans program. Either one of you veterans or have any family members that are veterans?
Family members, including my father, who was a veteran.
My
Okay.
daughter.
Okay, we're gonna work the system. We need to get them started a business so that you're covering all bases of the certification. Your goal is to make sure you have whatever vehicle that the government needs at your disposal. Does that make sense?
Amen.
And it's a checklist. This turnaround, their certifications is like 6 weeks. The women's program is a lot longer. Because again, we're fighting against everything right now because now that it's just my sister's here. The 8A program was sued by a white woman who said that it's not fair that we're getting these sole source contracts. That's why we now have to write why we discriminated against. So we really are in a fight for our life. And the only way that we're going to survive is owning our business. And because nothing is guaranteed, not even the good government job no more. Amen.
Amen. You can say that again.
So what they've told us, and even how we are now approaching in marketing, We've been groomed to lead with all these certifications. No, our message has to change. It's I'm a small business and I offer these services. And by the way, I have these certifications if you need them. But everybody for the last 10 years, I have my EB, all these E's. And those E's aren't good for us. The MBE, WBE, that's corporate certifications. You don't know what money you're chasing there. Federal, we just covered. The states, that's DBEs. Those are managed by the Department of Transportation or MARTA. And then you're going to have local certifications. And for me, once you understand the federal side, it's going to be easier for you to understand corporate, state, and local, because anybody that's receiving federal dollars, all of them have to follow federal rules as it relates to bidding. So I say start at the top and come down, because in the end, all of this is still our tax dollars. It's recycled tax dollars as I'm seeing all of this. Again, there's costs for these other certifications. And now I'm going to take y'all to some databases before I go over the program. Y'all have any questions regarding the certifications? Anybody?
No questions.
Not right now.
Not right now. I don't like sam.gov to look for opportunities. I'm going to take you to this website. And I'm recording this if y'all need this afterwards, because I know I'm giving y'all fire hose right now. Yeah? But y'all following with me. Y'all still with me, right?
Yes, we with you.
Yes.
This is the website I use to look for opportunities because it's user friendly. Um, and, because everything is posted daily. If I go to look for opportunities in sam.gov, you get a whole lot of stuff. And I like structure and being organized. So when I look at this opportunity for daily.usa or fbodaily.com, it breaks it down by month and by day. So every day I can go in and say, what is the government buying today? And it's broken down by industry. Every industry is going to have what opportunities they're looking for. And I really look at all of them because I'm always trying to see who is getting, who do I know that have this skill set. And so the first stage of it is what they call sources sought. Sources sought is they're doing their market research. They're trying to determine who's out there. Um, who's out there? And once they determine who's out there based on the people responding to this, then they go to the next phase of putting it out either as a small business or the women's program or 8A based on who's responding. And you can see how, just looking at the title, this is a couple of companies that I would be subcontracting to just manage the project, your project management at this game. The government buys everything. Um, we had an IT person, right? Look at here. And what is that saying? Because I follow what's in the news and what's going on politically to these contracts. So what is that saying to you guys? Is that saying anything? Just the title of that? What it's saying to me is all these people that they have let go, how are they going to probably use AI to help them get jobs. What's a career path for that? I read in between the lines. And again, government buys everything. Catholic musician, sports officials. I just posted that in my little community that I've created. All you're doing is finding referees. Why pigeonhole yourself if the government is buying it, everything? I mean, everything. This makes
What's the name of
sense?
that site?
FBOdaily.com.
Is that S as in Sam or S as in Frank?
Huh? That's F as in Frank, daily.com.
Thank you.
So right here. That's going through what they call a GSA schedule. I'm actually having a presenter in 2 weeks that's going to go over the schedule. But they've reduced all of the work, and they still need help. So it's contracts. It's contracts. So this is just a little look. This is my therapy. I'm always going. It's like, what is the government buying today? I love going through this. The shopping. And you would be a pocket checklist. All right. What is that? Do I need to know anything about that? Anybody? Hmm? What are they asking you to do? Y'all still with me?
I'm reading it.
Okay.
Distribution.
It's just moving, yeah. You just
Yeah.
packing. It's like moving. Pick it up, pack it, label it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you're moving when you're moving in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call the low-hanging fruit. Stupid money. Government buys everything. Barbershops, stylists, all of that industry, military bases. This is another website I'm going to take you. Now, this is what is currently what I just showed you. This site shows you what they have awarded previously. This is where you're seeing, Ms. Kilgore, I know you're on the phone. It's usaspending.gov, and I'm recording this. I'll send you the recording. But this website shows you where your tax dollar is going, not only from the contract side, but the grant side. In our community, we tend to start these nonprofits, and to me, that's a harder industry to try to go into first, because the whole game is about the tax benefits. And the purpose of creating that nonprofit, because I had a nonprofit in that first business, was to um, was to taxes. I knew when I started to make money, I could shift it into that nonprofit, and it was a tax write-off. But I also set it up if I wanted to get grants, because in the end, it's the same money, different process. So in here is where you're going to find all the contracts that have been awarded in the last. I'm going to show you an example of one of the students that won the contract. Again, while she was in the program, it was So you can see what I'm saying as it relates to a, hold on, what happened? That's more something using different names. Okay, something else is happening. Here we go. 7. Something is wrong here, but let me see what is going on here. This was a contract. That's a loan. I'm not sure what's going on with her. Interesting. That might not be her. Let's try it again. Hold on, y'all. And it might be because I didn't put enough dates in there. She was doing that in 19. Okay, that's better. So when you look at her contracts, this was one of her first contracts. The government needed 3-day meeting space. You can see when it was awarded. It was 3-month job. The hotel space was $48,000. She put her bid in at $104,000. And when you come down a little further, it's going to show you and prove my point that it's only one person. She was the only one competing on these contracts. And at this time of the year, they just trying to get it off the table. Your buy look good, yes. Oh, that's how that young lady did the rock salt, marking it up 50%. They just trying to get it off the table. And she's one, she got another one coming in too. So these are some of the databases that we teach you in the class. The program is broken into 3 modules. It's 6 weeks each. By the time you finish the first module, I'm encouraging to start competing on contracts. The business will be registered properly in SAM. And I provided a lot of the templates from my first business. The second module is all about teaming and strategizing once we just dressed you up. And then the third module is all around the 8A program and the mentor protege program. I have the template of the business plan that you're going to use for both of those programs. Right now, I have this rate. It's a $200 discount until next Friday. If you bring in a second person, still trying to cut the cost, it's two for $34.97. That's still a $750 saving. The next class will start Thursday, August 21st from 8 to 9:30 p.m. I'll be hosting that cohort. You also have what we call office hours on Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. And that's generally where a lot of the cohorts of classes will come together. Lab sessions on Thursday to help you assist with your homework assignments, because every week you have homework. It is like school. I've again created all these templates from that first business, and you'll hear me consistently say you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just follow the blueprint. These are some of the deliverables that I'm looking for it to come out of each of the module. This is what the team's deliverables are. And let me also show you the school. I'm gonna put this in the chat as well. And what we're doing over here. And we're getting ready to officially launch this school community. Right now it's free the goal is that we begin to network. We begin to create industry tribes so that we are able to connect, start coming together as a community and understand how we connect, we partner, because most people have gone through the program, but it's them understanding how to team. And over here, my whole point is this map. I love this map because if you look at this map, it's going to show you who's in what area. So if I'm in Florida, I see this person here in Florida. I see she's in Florida, and it's going to show me the area. But if I see a contract in California, I know there's somebody in California that can be boots on the ground for me if I'm looking for a vendor. I'm reaching out and I'm trying to connect and understand this can be somebody I can potentially collaborate with. In the paid membership, we're going to have industry. I'm calling them industry tribes, where each industry is going to have their own community and activities going out so that, again, we can know who's in the community as we're looking and hunting for everybody. That's my story. That's what I'm sticking to. Does that make sense to everybody?
Makes
Yes,
perfect sense. And at the beginning, you said it's about collaboration, I
it
believe.
has to
So
be.
yeah,
Um,
collaboration and community.
right, huh?
I said collaboration and community.
It is so right now I just feel like we're in a fight for our life. And there's no real leadership that's taking the lead. So we're taking our own lead right now. I'm gonna put that. I encourage you to join the community, um, because it's all about like-minded people. Okay. So what's some takeaways, ladies?
My takeaways is that the resources are out there, the knowledge is out there, but you need to have the proper direction, if you will. When I had started my business, I was doing it by myself, didn't know much about anything, wanted to know more about grants and loans and contracts, and didn't have the proper resources. I needed a mentor. That's what I needed. So being within community with collaboration is very important. There's a cost to everything. So my next question is in preparation for the August, was that the 21st?
Yes.
In preparation for that, is there a breakdown of cost, like a payment plan or
Through PayPal.
PayPal? Okay.
And that's who I'm connected with. They have a 6 month no interest.
Okay.
Okay.
It's definitely worthwhile because of your experience and your tenure as an entrepreneur. It's definitely worth it.
Yes, Miss Guillory, she went through the program, and this is what I want to do next. I'm doing this because this is where they're shifting the money, and she has 30 or 40 years. So I'm picking up all these seasoned folks with the inside knowledge. That's the only way that we're going to begin to understand this game. Otherwise, we're constantly chasing. I'm tired of us chasing. And I need the whole community. We need to take this thing back because it's getting real out here. And what I would say is that we have the most money than my daddy ever had. You know what I mean?